Tár is the best film I've seen this year. Granted, I've only seen about 4, but it's still the best. The way in which the story immerses you in more than one way is breathtaking, and without wasting a second, we are brought through the hectic life of Lydia Tár. In today's video, I'll be covering everything surrounding the cinematography, looking at the equipment Florian Hofmeister used, how he created the sharp look, as well as what makes the cinematography observant, as it's a word that can have more than one meaning. Starting off, the equipment. Now with a look this sharp and clean, chances are you'll be shooting on digital. Not only is that an incredible option for any look you could possibly want, but it's also cheaper. Usually. And the usually is the key here. Florian Hofmeister opted for Arri cameras, going with the Arri Alexa 65 and Mini LF, with the 65 being one of the most exclusive digital cinema cameras of all time. One of the recurring themes of films with this look is that they are often shot on large format cameras, namely the Alexa 65 and LF, but also cameras like the Venice, DXL2, Monstro, amongst many others. One of the reasons he may have chosen the Alexa, however, is for its incredible colour science and skin rendition, and with a film full of close-ups and intimate scenes, that's almost a necessity if you can afford it. Now, with large sensors you need large lenses, with Hofmeister opting for Arri's signature primes, arguably some of the best lenses on the planet, from a technical standpoint anyway. With these you get warm skin tones, crisp blacks, and exceptionally soft bokeh, which is incredibly helpful with the amount of close-ups he was doing. It will be hard to find a better set of lenses than these. But that brings me on to the look of this film. How do you describe this? To me, the words that come to mind straight away are sharp, clinical, Scandinavian. There's this aura of cleanliness, and I can't think of another word that describes the base of the look better. But what are the characteristics of a sharp, clinical Scandinavian look? Well, a clean frame for a start. And by clean, I mean both physically and metaphorically, in the way that we have a sharp lens, organic lighting, and overall a tidy frame. But we also aren't cluttered. Our characters are placed in an organised way, and even in a busy scene, it doesn't feel crowded. Now, I'd say this all adds to a more sophisticated look. It's sharper, has an organic and natural colour palette, and most importantly, looks incredibly good. If you want to create a world that feels so real that it's immersive, the visuality has to be authentic. Todd would emphasise the idea of observation. For example, in the big concert hall for all of the rehearsals, he was adamant that it should feel like a workspace. We didn't want to romanticise the music, which is your first instinct. But what makes the cinematography observant? Well, I like to break it down into 3 major points, all revolving around simplicity. First of all, keeping the camera stable. Now, I don't mean just throwing it on sticks and calling it a day. In fact, quite the opposite. The camera flowing through the scene, preferably in a subtle manner, is quite important. Not only does it add interest to the visuals, but it also adds a level of storytelling through images that you can't get from a static shot. After 3 minutes, you think you're sitting there watching this event. We were just there. We didn't try to guide the audience in terms of importance by panning, we were just there, and it was about finding the right angle. Next, try not to distract the audience. Now, this may sound like a given what I'm talking about, but I'm more talking about creating a subtle yet meaningful colour palette, not using insane drone shots, framing with meaning, and not being too loud in general. Alone, these are all things that create a certain mood, but altogether, it creates an incredibly observant cinematography style and one that can't be replicated with ease. And finally, the art of the long take. Holding on a face or place for 5, 10, 30 seconds can mean the difference between just another scene and a pivotal moment in the movie. When you cut prematurely, you are breaking the atmosphere you've built. Sometimes you want to do this, as it's a great way to re-engage the viewer, but sometimes it's the wrong call completely. In talking about the Juilliard scene, Florian Hofmeister said, "It's probably one of the scenes that we spoke about the most. Todd was adamant from the start that it should be a single shot, but not for the reason of showing off or following somebody." So, in conclusion, why should you go for a more observant style? Well, in a film like this, I think it helps elevate the story to a level it deserves. It's incredibly well written, has a definite subtlety to it, and overall wouldn't have worked in a different cinematography style. We are able to take a breather and observe these characters from a distance without feeling like we don't belong. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you did have a recommendation for an analysis, leave it down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.